Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stasia, and today's video I want to talk about 7 really common weight loss mistakes that we sometimes make following a whole food plant-based diet. Now, for those of you who don't know me, if this is one of your first time landing on my videos, then my channel is all about health and weight loss content following a whole food plant-based diet. So I have been following a whole food plant-based diet for many, many years now, starting back when I actually fell really sick with a bunch of troublesome issues. I made a whole video explaining my whole story, so I'm not going to get into that here. But if you'd like to watch that, I will link that in my description box below. But basically, in a nutshell, during that time, I was able to heal my body when no doctor could, as well as lose 65 pounds in the process. So I do know a thing or two about what it takes following a whole food plant-based diet, as well as the power of a whole food plant-based diet. So today I wanted to share with all of you some of the mistakes that I have made in the past, as well as some of the mistakes I see some of you are also making, you know, in some of the comments I read, even on other videos that I watch. I see that there's a lot of confusion over some things, so I really want to get into it today. But before we jump into that part of the video, really quickly, I just wanted to mention that it is early Black Friday sales. So I did run an early Black Friday sales this past weekend, and I'm going to continue the fun. So all of my recipe ebooks, which includes my brand new oil-free dressings and sauces recipe ebook, as well as my 50+ weight loss recipe ebook, as well as the combo of both of them if you purchase them together at a discount. All of them are on sale for 50% off, but only to the first 15 people who purchase it today. So good luck, happy early Black Friday, and let's get into the video. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is not eating enough veggies. So let's just start with saying that vegetables are literally the lowest food in calorie density that you can eat. You can eat not 100 pounds. You can eat 1 pound of vegetables for only about 100 calories. They are so low in calories. So what does this mean? Well, I'm not suggesting to exist solely on non-starchy vegetables, but I am suggesting that to use that as a means to fill up your belly, fill up your plate, without even having to think about it calorie-wise. Eating more veggies does not mean that you have to have a salad every single day for the rest of your life. You can literally eat these veggies however you like. I personally love salads, so that's not a problem for me, but if you're not a salad person, you can eat them in a nice bowl of soup, which I also love soup as well. You can eat them just as they are, as like chop up some veggies as a snack or, you know, as part of your meal. You can steam them, you can roast them, you can pan fry them in some, you know, some broth or some water. There's lots of different ways that you can figure out how to get them in, and a lot of amazing recipes, including some in my recipe book. But anytime I've increased my veggies, that's when I really feel the magic starting to work. If you are stalled in your weight loss, or you're just not satisfied with how fast things are moving along, just try upping your non-starchy veggies, and I'm sure you're going to feel a difference. Me personally, I feel like if I just ate starch all the time and starch only, even though I know for some people, they promote that. For some people, it is okay and it's worked. I'm just speaking on my personal experience. Eating a bunch of starch alone with the amount that I'm actually capable of eating did not work out for me very well as far as, you know, losing weight fast or at all. So for me, I really have to kind of incorporate those non-starchy veggies to get the full feeling that I'm looking for, and then finish it off with my starch to actually keep me full. Not only are they super healthy for us, they are excellent in helping us on our weight loss journeys. So do not forget to add more veggies into your diet. Okay, so the second thing is to try not to be too worried or too particular about some of the details when it comes to a plant-based diet. And what I mean by that is some of you really stress on, you know, which is the best bean to eat, or white potatoes versus sweet potatoes, or brown rice versus white rice, you know, or like which starch is the best to eat. I have the answer for you. The best starch to eat is the one that you're going to actually eat. I have always stressed this on my channel, is that you have to make sure that you're enjoying the food that you eat. Otherwise, if you're not, then all that really means is that you're on some strict diet that you're going to force yourself to barrel through these miserable feelings of not wanting to eat these foods until you can't take it any longer, and then you just revert back to whatever diet you were on before starting this lifestyle. All of the starches have their place. I wouldn't worry too much about that. So pick the one that you're going to actually eat, the one that you actually can stay consistent with, and run with that. While variety is amazing, obviously from a nutritional standpoint, it's not entirely necessary. Some of the healthiest people in the world eat the most basic, simple diets. So seriously, try not to worry about it too much. Even if you only like 1 or 2 starches and the other ones you're not that big of a fan of, it doesn't excite you, then just stick to those 1 or 2. It's completely okay. Just try not to overthink it. Just try to remember that it's not only what we're putting in our bodies, but think of all the things that we've taken out of our bodies, that we've removed from our diets. That also encourages weight loss. That also encourages ideal health. So it's not just what we're putting in, but it's also what we've eliminated from our diet by following this way of eating. Okay, so the third one is being scared of fruit. I would argue that this might be one of the biggest debates within the whole food plant-based community. I see a lot of people stressed over whether or not they can have 1 piece of fruit, 2 pieces of fruit, or, you know, an abundance of fruit. And I'm just going to say this. I can probably guarantee and bet my life on it that the reason that any of us are not at our ideal weight has nothing to do with eating too much fruit. Just a wild guess. In fairness, let's keep this in context. I'm not saying solely exist on fruit only and just eat until the cows come home. I'm not saying that, although some people do. There's fruitarians that they literally exist on nothing but fruit, and I'm sure they would have their version of their story, and that's fine. I'm not getting into that today. But what I'm suggesting is just don't fear it. Fruit is filled with water. Fruit is very healing for the body. And there is no comparison from an apple to a chocolate bar. Like the human body knows exactly what an apple is and what to do with it versus a chocolate bar. So I really wouldn't worry about, you know, whether or not you're eating too much fruit, because the average person is probably not going to overdo it on fruit. Now, I also wanted to share when I lost that 65 pounds and I was actually able to tolerate fruit, which if you listen to my story, then you'll know what I mean. But when I actually got to that point, I was eating massive bowls of fruit. Like I would start my day by making a huge fruit salad, and sometimes I would just have like, that would be my meal, was just eating like a bowl of fruit, like a fruit salad. And I still lost weight. So fruit definitely didn't ever hold me back on my weight loss journey at all. So I ate fruit in abundance because I felt like it was something healthy for my healing journey, and it did not affect my weight loss whatsoever. Now, maybe that's not the case for everyone. I can only speak on myself, so that's what I'm doing. But that was my experience. So my advice, take it or leave it, would be to not worry too much about fruit. I will always believe that having a nice, water-rich, juicy apple will always be better for you than, let's say, like a dry piece of toast. Okay, so number 4 is actually a really important one. This one's really, really important in my books. Maybe I should have put it as number 1. Thinking that a calorie deficit does not matter. Now, this one is huge, particularly in this community, just because there is this notion that you can eat as much as you want and you're still going to lose weight. Now, let me tell you from my personal experience, I was sold on this idea and it did not help me. It actually had an adverse effect on me. So I didn't lose weight, and in some cases, I think the scale had actually went up. Because someone who's a volume eater and then they hear that you can literally eat as much as you want, that can be dangerous territory for some of us. So, you know, I think I took it maybe too literal, and I think the idea of eating until you're, comfortably full, I think that one should be stressed a little bit more than the idea that we can eat as much as we want and you're going to lose weight. I think all of that can be kind of confusing for people because no, you can't just stuff your face with, beans and potatoes and rice for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between, late night. without, you know, going over probably the caloric needs of your body. It just doesn't work, especially for someone who doesn't eat when, you know, aligned with their hunger cues, let's say. If you're just snacking to snack mindlessly, if you are stress eating or emotional eating and all this, and you're telling yourself, well, it's okay because I'm eating, you know, potatoes or I'm eating this or that, you can still go over your caloric needs. Every single person has a certain amount of calories required to function. You know, they burn so many in a day. We're all different depending on, you know, our height, our weight, all that good stuff. And to deny that that exists is not the right approach. I can assure you that there is no diet program, you know, no weight loss program in the world that exists that does not put you in some type of calorie deficit. I think it's important to realize that no matter what diet or what eating plan you're following, it will 100% be designed to put you in a calorie deficit. So please don't make that mistake, especially if you are new to this way of eating and just think that you can just eat endlessly and that calories don't matter, because they do. But what's great about this way of eating is that it is designed for volume eaters, and there are little hacks to help keep us in a deficit while eating a lot of food. That's what's so great about it, right? Because all the foods, potatoes, rice, beans, all of those foods included, they're all lower calorie dense foods, but they still have calories. So just be mindful of that. And going back to number one, eating more veggies, that would be my strongest suggestion, that, you know, have a good amount of starch, whatever that is for you. If it's potatoes, have a couple of potatoes. Don't stress that either. But just if you still are feeling that you're still hungry, or that you're hungry a little bit later, I would recommend filling it up, topping it off with even more veggies, which again, that can come in the means of a salad or soup or just chopping up some veggies. So I would stress that that would kind of be the way to go, but just be mindful that calories do matter, a calorie deficit matters, and that is literally the only way that anyone will ever lose weight. I hope that clears it up a little bit. I just feel a lot of people are confused on that one, just because we don't track calories in this way of eating, you know, and we have heard certain things, you know, be said about, oh, you can eat as much as you want, or you'll hear some other people that they claim to have ate as much as they want, and maybe they did eat as much as they wanted, but it still kept them in a calorie deficit because they were fuller quicker than you, or whatever the case. So I just hope that that makes sense. So it's just something to be mindful for yourself, that, you know, you need to eat enough, but make sure that you're eating, you know, the right foods to keep you in a calorie deficit. Okay, number 5 is snacking. So this is something that I would say, you know, try your best not to do a ton of snacking unless you really need to. Unless your body's actually hungry, then by all means eat when you need to. There should be no restriction or no restrictive feelings when you're, you know, on a health and weight loss journey. So I would say eat if you need to. But what I'm talking about when I say no snacking is try not to snack if you're just mindlessly snacking. If you're just doing it out of boredom, you know, you just have a little taste for something. So that's why you're eating, or you're, you know, eating some of your kids' food or their snack or something like that. I would say be very, very mindful of that. And what happens is if you end up limiting your snacking, then it actually allows you to eat more at mealtime, right? Because you're not just adding these like senseless, useless calories by just mindless snacking. Instead, you're actually able to have like an awesome meal and still be in that calorie deficit. Okay, so that was a quick one. So we're gonna move along to number 6, and that would be eating food that you like. And I really stress this because I feel like if you're not eating food that you like, then this is pretty much more of a diet for you rather than a lifestyle. And I think the goal is, when we're trying to get healthy, when we're trying to lose weight, to find something that we're actually going to stick with for the rest of our life, right? These short-term quick fix things, like they just make us fall right back into whatever we were doing before we started. So the goal is to get into something that you can see yourself doing long-term. Like, for example, some people have said that they eat, you know, certain things because they follow other people that ate it and had success and stuff. And while that's great for that person that had success, maybe they actually enjoyed eating it, so it was effortless for them. But for you, you have to figure out what works for you. Please do not scarf food down, you know, or I should say force food down that you're not actually enjoying, because it's just a sure way to set yourself up for failure. So please, if you haven't already, grab a copy of my ebooks and they will help you find some delicious recipes and mostly some delicious sauces and dressings to put on your food so that you can actually find stuff you enjoy and can see yourself eating for the rest of your life. Okay, so my 7th and last weight loss mistake I want to share with you guys. Now, this is something that I personally still work on because it happens sometimes, is to not leave the house unprepared. This one is like, this can be the deal breaker, right? Like this can sabotage your whole day if you're not properly prepared. Making sure you always have something on you when you are out and about is very, very crucial, because one, there are so many different things that are very tempting once you step outside of the home. And when you're hungry, then you're less likely to be able to fight off those temptations. So if you're not prepared, then basically you're going to be faced with one of two scenarios. One is that you're going to maybe end up eating something that you probably didn't want to eat, but felt you had no choice. So that can, you know, that could just be very bad. So the second thing is that you end up not eating anything out because you can't really find anything, you know, with your way of eating, and you end up starving, which that's not a great option either, because then, you know, you just end up resenting this way of eating. You're miserable, maybe you're not enjoying your time, and then you're going to come home, and if you don't have your stuff prepped in your fridge, then it's just snowballing into a worse and worse situation. So I would definitely recommend making sure that you have some type of food with you, even if it's just a snack, something to tide you over until you can get home. One thing that I've done often is I will eat before I go, so I'm already feeling full, and I'll tell myself, oh no, I'm good, because I don't feel hungry in that moment. But then, you know, a few hours pass and I'm out and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm actually like really hungry right now, right? So that, I think I can't be the only one that happens to. So I would really strongly suggest making that a priority, to making sure that when you leave the house, you are always prepared. All right, everyone, I hope that this video was helpful. These are definitely my top 7 that I have struggled with, I have overcome, I have seen, you know, amongst all of you, say, you know, like I said, seeing it in the comments, or even some of you guys personally ask me some of these questions. So I hope that kind of sums it up, where my thoughts are on it. And I hope that you found something helpful and useful from this video. So if it is your first time landing on one of my videos, then I would love to have you stick around if you love health and weight loss content following a whole food plant-based diet. So be sure to hit the subscribe button on your way out. And again, don't forget about those Black Friday specials. Good luck to the first 15. So thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I will see all of you in the next one.